an event, and this is why I always tell people, okay, commit first and figure it out later, right? I want you guys to write that down. Commit first and figure the rest out later. You know, a few months ago, I got invited to an event to speak, okay? I didn't know what I was going to speak about. I didn't know what the event was about. I just got invited to this event, and the event was in Orlando. And you know, I was a special guest speaker at this event, and it was an entrepreneur event. It wasn't like your regular, you know, company event. It was more of an entrepreneur event. And as I'm, you know, invited to this event, I'm one of the last speakers. So, you know, I'm sitting around, and it was like one of those events where, you know, you get there's a lot of different stations all around. Like there's a station for credit repair. There's a station for you know, brokers and trading and crypto, and there's people selling clothes, and there's all these things that are going on, right? So I was just looking around, connecting with people, and I saw this clothing brand called Fame and Fortune, and I was like, yo, this looks pretty dope. It's like streetwear. I'm like, let me go check it out. So I go check it out. I'm looking at some shirts, and I ask, I'm like, hey, you guys got any more of these? She's like, nah, they actually sold out, because I went towards the end of it. But she actually recognized me. She like, I know you from somewhere. You don't know me, but I know you. I went to one of your events 3 years ago, and I saw you present Forex and crypto and all of this. And I remember you, you know, your name is Neno, right? And I'm like, yeah. And she was like, are you still doing that Forex and crypto thing? I'm like, yes. She was like, okay, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to sign up. I'm like, wait, what do you mean you're ready to sign up? She's like, yo, no, I'm ready to sign up right now. Like, send me the link and I'm gonna sign up right now. I'm like, you don't want to see a presentation? You don't want to schedule a call for us to, you know, do this? And she was like, no, like, send me the link, bro. Like, I'm ready to go right now. Like, I don't want to see no presentation. If you're still doing this 3 years later, I want to get started. So I'm sitting there, I'm so confused. I still don't even know her name. Literally, like as she's signing up, you know, I send her the link, obviously, and as she's signing up, I'm like, you know, I know this is a little weird, but what was your name one more time? You know, like, what was your name? And she's like, yeah, you know, my name is Marcy. And you know, she ends up getting started with the team, guys, and you know, I end up finding out that this is one of the most, you know, they say that, you know, you attract who you are. Your vibe attracts your tribe. You know, I truly believe that I attracted a female version of me. Like when I tell you guys that this is one of the most savage individuals that you guys will ever get a chance to meet, trust me, believe me. You know, when I tell you guys outwork me, this girl is outworking me. You see how we wake up 5, 6 in the morning? She's waking up at 3 in the morning. She's up at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., working on herself from 3 a.m. all the way till 9 a.m. mornings with Neno. Okay, aside from the savage mentality that she has, she's already a very successful entrepreneur. Okay, this is somebody who's been in the business for years. Okay, she's huge in the fashion industry. And I don't want to say too much of her story because I want her to be able to come in here and share with you guys. But what I do want you guys to know is that every single one of you guys are about to leave this call impacted. I guarantee you that. All right, because she is going to share with you guys a training that she did for our team last week that absolutely left everybody speechless. We were all like this. We were like, wow, we couldn't even believe it. It was one of those things where I was like, we all need to get back to work. She checked every single one of us. And I feel like every single person on this call needs to hear this training. I was just with her the whole entire weekend. She just stepped out of her comfort zone. We just launched the Orlando market. And I said, you know what, sis? You deserve to be on Mornings with Neno. You deserve to share the message that you shared here today. So if you guys are excited to hear from this incredible speaker, type some fire emojis in the chat box because I'm about to bring up the most savage woman that I know. Okay, literally the myth, the legend herself, Marcy, to the floor. Take it away, sis. The floor is yours. I appreciate you so much. I love you. Leave this family speechless today. The floor is yours, family. Love you. Let's get it.
No pressure. Good morning, everybody. It is honestly, Neno, back to you. Like it's an honor to actually be a part of Mornings with Neno. And it's crazy because for such a long time, so I started doing my own calls as well on Thursdays for my team. And for my team, and I just open it up for everybody. Anybody that just wants some type of positivity going on in their life. I like to open this call up for them, right? And on the chat box, it always pops up. Somebody is always like, yo, you need to collab with Mornings with Neno. And in my head, I'm like, that's my brother, you know? But, I feel like everything in life is always earned. And I've never been the type of person to just, like, I don't do, like, handouts. So I'm like, you know what? Like, the day will come that he actually does tell me, like, sis, it's time, And, that part actually came. And it's honestly a complete honor, a blessing. I'm not going to lie to you. I looked at that little chat box. It said like 1K in people, YouTube recording is a little bit of pressure. But lately, guys, I fell in love with getting uncomfortable. So if it scares me, I jump, I go. That's really just who I am as a person. So tying back into what he did say in the beginning, you really are what you attract. And that alignment was ridiculous. Like this, Neno is not a lie. Like when we tell people this story, it's so amazing because people look at me like, are you crazy? Yeah, crazy works. Like I really did go up to him and I said, let me get the link. And I'm pretty aggressive. So I was like, let me just get the link. He looked at me like, are you 6 feet, sis? Like what's going on? But you know what, guys, like I took that leap of faith and I really just I will put myself in a winning position, but I tend to do that a lot. I tend to like to put myself into winning positions. I like to challenge myself and turn situations into winning situations, right? So a little bit about myself. I'm 28 years young. And yes, I live in Orlando now. Neno did give a little bit of an introduction of what I was and things like that. And like I was in the fashion industry and things of that sort. But I think that where I really stem from, where I really do shine, and what's going to help you guys understand why I am the way that I am is because before anything, I was a very lost person, right? I was a lost individual and I didn't have what personal development consisted of. I always knew that I wanted to be something, but I didn't know what I was going to be and how I was going to get there. But I knew that it was going to be completely up to me on how long I was stuck in the position that I was in. With that being said, I left Orlando at a very young age. I left Orlando I was about 18 years old and I just left. I put my 2 weeks in at my job. It's like, I'm moving up north. New York is going to wake up who it is that I'm meant to be. And if I get lost, if I fail, I'm going to get back up. You see where I'm going with it? I never depended on anybody. I always knew that my success or my failure were both going to be completely up to me. And if it scared me, I just did it. Right, guys? And don't get me wrong, like I hit rock bottom. I did that, but I didn't stay there. And I was always a fighter, right? At heart. And my biggest life lesson was actually being a fighter. For those of you that don't know me, I was once an MMA fighter. And to me, the reason why I'm getting into it is because MMA and being a fighter, that mentality really was what made me into who I am, molded me into the individual that I am, right? Because fighting is a very lonely sport. And many times with many things, guys, I'm going to be very transparent and I don't mean to come on a little bit aggressive, but if I have your permission to really just talk and be myself on this call, I don't water things down. Just drop a 444 in this chat box because I'm about to talk. I'm about to pop, about to talk that talk. All right, cool. I have your permission. Guys, like I was saying, I was a fighter, right? And fighting is a very lonely sport. It's not for the weak. Things that you do in life, some things take a lot more energy from you than others, right or wrong. But as a fighter, you have to learn isolation. You have to have self-discipline. You have a coach who's guiding you, right? But it's your job to actually show up. And it's not just a matter of me. So many people came into the gym and they'd be like, oh my God, I want to be a fighter. I would just look at them and be like, you don't even know what's coming out of your mouth. You don't even know what that means, because the amount of sacrifice that comes with it is something that it can't be taught. It doesn't matter how many YouTube videos you watch. It doesn't matter how many audios you listen to. It doesn't how many fighters you study. If you don't have, you either got it or you don't. Because when you fight, you're either the predator or you're the prey. You following? So when I was fighting and I was in my training camps, the fight was not even the hardest part. What you see on TV, it really is really that short. And to be honest with you, the moment that you're in the ring and you have all this adrenaline, it doesn't even phase you. That's the easiest part. It might sound insane, but the fight is the easiest part. Yeah, granted, you might be dazed out. I was talking yesterday to Neno, talking about one time I got dazed, and like, you know, you might taste your blood, and like you get hit certain times, you take certain hits, but guess what, guys? You're prepared to take those hits. Why? Because of the training that you undergo, the hard, intense trainings that you actually go through. As a fighter, you do 2-a-days. Okay, you're locked in a fight camp, and it's morning. I remember I would run 10 miles every single morning, completely dehydrated and starved because it had to be on an empty stomach. 10 miles, train, take a little. I would only have a break between 1 and 4, and I was allowed one meal of 4 to 5 pieces of asparagus and 1 egg white. Y'all know how small egg whites are? You know how hungry your girl was? But I wanted to be a fighter. I knew I had a goal. And guess what? I starved myself. And you know how much of a mental impact that is? That's mentally challenging, bro. That's when I discovered really how strong my mind really is. That's when I was put to the test. Fast forward. You do that for 3 months, sometimes there's a whole entire camp. How many of you guys people would show up to the gym and say, I want to be a fighter, but they wouldn't last a day of actual conditioning. And it's really light conditioning. So I'm going to be tying in a lot of references in regards to my fighting life to my actual lesson today. I just wanted to give you guys an understanding of what sacrifice is. And let me tell you something, my winning ratio was a lot stronger than my losing ratio. I think I only tapped out in probably some jujitsu matches, but in the ring, actual fighting, my hands and like my fists and my legs and like my full blown potential, you weren't going to beat me on that. So my whole point of this is the fact that my coach was a person that would help me and steer me and guide me into the direction of actually fighting, right? Of my actual fight. When I was in the ring, I would have him in the background, right or wrong, telling me, directing me and guiding me, but it was completely up to me on if I was actually showing up, if I was giving him my 100%, what I was actually doing. So that was a system that was in play for me, right? I'm going to come back and talk about something that's a little bit more on the relatable side for all of us. And I understand that we're not all fighters in here. Like, I know that's a very different type of conversation, but I'm going to tap back into something that it did actually implement a system for us. And it was when we were back in school. You know, we all went to school. We all went from elementary all the way to high school. So now I'm going to meet you on a more relatable page. We all already grew up in systems, and we can all agree that the school system was something that was taught to us from a very young age. And like that handheld to the point that teachers would even be the ones to tell you like what goals to set and what timeframes to set for these goals. But we have to remember that school systems are built to train us for jobs. We're not supposed to be entrepreneurs. So how do we take that school system and make it work for us? We were required to have an arrival time, right? We were required to have a perfect attendance, or, you know, you were rewarded for having a perfect attendance. You had a report card, you had monitored breaks, right? Timed lectures, depending on the subject, where retention was tested. And how was retention tested? During tests, right? Tests, pop quizzes. So new material was absorbed daily, but it was on you what grade you actually received, because it's on you if you had a passing or failing grade. So why is it so hard for us to duplicate that system for ourselves? And if we did, then what would your report card be today in your life? Like if you had to do a whole report card on yourself, on your life, and really be genuine and sincere on your actual attendance, on your performance in each and every single subject in your life, what would your report card be like? Right? And what's the attendance like for you? Are you showing up for yourself? So many of us have projects that we still haven't set due dates for. In school, we used to have projects, right, family? We all used to have due dates. I know you guys in school, because I myself, even if you wait until the last minute to actually start on the project, you made sure that you pulled an all-nighter. You made sure you had every single supply you had. And sometimes we were even working on those projects, on those papers up until right before the class periods are submitted. But we got it done. We got it done. And whatever grade it is that we got, it all depended on the amount of work that you put in, right? The amount of time that you actually put into that project. And where I'm going with it is the fact that sometimes it's noticeable when it's a rushed assignment versus a project that somebody actually took the time out daily to actually add value into, right? What they're some people really don't care what they're presenting as long as they just would show something. We can't have that type of thought process in our lives, guys. Let's think of projects as goals. What goals and deadlines are you setting? How lenient are you when you set your goals? Because we live in an era, guys, where expectancy became such an issue. And why? Because people handle it so incorrectly. And when we structure our goals, we have a form of expectancy. And when you live in faith, you live as an expectant. So expectancy is hope specified. Okay. It's confidence that a specific thing will happen. And sometimes some of us actually run from setting goals, but let's talk about why, right? Because we're taught that expectations lead to failure, right? So we as a defense mechanism choose to not set ourselves up for failure for this misconception of failure. So when we lower our expectations, we settle for partially completed promises, partially completed goals, all because we lowered our expectations because we're afraid of disappointments. And we have to make sure that we wait with expectation and put faith into practice. Okay? Whether we stop fighting, that is fully on you. It's on us. You have nobody else to blame. When you stop fighting, it's fully on you. Your success and your failure does not depend on your mentor. It did not depend on my coach. It will never depend on my mentor. Your success and your failure does not depend on your mentor. If you show up or not, that is your responsibility. Okay. But if it gets hard and then you get weeded out and you can't fight back, let me tell you something. In a fight, your preparation shows the moment that you step foot into that ring. Because you're either the prey or you're the predator. And let me tell you, your opponent wants to knock your head off before you knock their head off. So guess what that looks like? You have to be prepared. Consider life to be your biggest opponent. A lot of people let life just pass it by because they don't want to face it. Because I'm not a fighter. I'm not a fighter. I don't want to make it my opponent. So you rather just watch life go by. And a lot of people are very, very guilty of that. Okay. Consider life your opponent, family. But put this idea into your head from right now, right? The moment that life challenges you and you stop swinging, it was not your coach's fault that you stopped fighting. It was not your mentor's fault that you stopped fighting, that you didn't prepare. So lock into a system. That's all you have to do. Create a system, lock into a system. You did it before in school, you could do it again. I promise you, it really is not that hard. If it's hard for you to show up for yourself, I think you have a lot bigger of a problem. And that's something I can't really help you on. I can only tell you that there's nothing but good that comes into you providing yourself with the system. Neno told you guys, I had a system in place that I would wake up the 5 a.m. I did all of that, but I wasn't receiving any results that I wanted from this goal. So you know what I did? Pressure, 4 a.m. Did it for a little bit. Still not getting the results I want. 3 a.m. 3 a.m. I go to sleep from 12:30 until 3, and I'm not complaining. I'm letting you know that this schedule and how militant I am with my schedule is exactly why I'm able to obtain everything that I have. I'm still able to run my business. I'm still able to build myself. I'm still able to actually add a new business into my life because I'm structured. I took a system and I made it work for me. Show up for yourself. Oh, but back into like when I was a fighter, imagine like, oh, but I cut weight, but I showed up to class every day, but I studied other techniques of fighters. But do you hear that? That's whining. You're not gonna win by whining, straight up. So what are you doing when no one's looking? Because put it like this, in the ring, I show up. My coach taught me everything. He put me into the technique. He put me into the mental state. So while I'm in front of him, I'm doing all the right things. When you're in front of the person that is mentoring you, you're doing all the right things. Of course, you don't want to mess up in front of your mentor, you dumb. But the real question here is, what are you doing when you leave? What are you doing when you're not looking? What are you doing when you're not training? What are you doing in that downtime? Because if you're doing things that are counteracting to what it is that you poured so much into, you're only playing yourself. And let me tell you, your mentor, your coach, they're not fooled. There's a lot more of you. And they see those tendencies. They're able to depict that. Straight up. So that whole whining. So what are you doing when no one is looking? Because if the system built was train hard and fight easy, and your coach, your mentor gave you the tools and put you into a winning position, where did you fail? Stop pointing fingers because you didn't set the alarm, because you didn't show up, because you haven't shown up. Because imagine if I stepped into the ring like expecting to win the fight. Guys, each fight, each opponent required me to train harder, to study fighters, to study more. I had to, no matter what, no matter how many hours I just trained the last time that I won a fight, no matter what, when I took on a new opponent, I had to be back in the gym, locked in, like it was my first fight all over again. And there's some people on this call that I know that were a part of my fighting process, that they would see, because my coach would train some girls like, and whatever. But I was the only girl that he actually took his time and invested into it because he saw my desire. He wouldn't take on new actual fighters. He wouldn't throw just anybody into the ring. You earned that. I showed up to every single class and I earned his time. Earn your mentor's time. New opponent meant new challenge. New challenge meant new goals. New goals have new requirements, and new requirements will grant you new results. So become aware, snap into reality, because you have full control of what your reality is, family. And don't get me wrong, like I understand, like life is tough, right? Like I might sound like yes, I have an aggressive tone, but life defeats me sometimes too. But I'm gonna give you guys, if there's anything that you take from this call, I want you guys to really take this. And this is something that I implement into every single part of my life. Okay, this lesson right here, I need you guys to understand it. There's 100% and then there's 5%. I'm gonna explain that. So it goes into the story because one time I was at my minimum weight. I was at my minimum. I was already ready for my fight. I cut weight. I made it. And guys, when it was a dehydration process leading up to my fight, I wasn't allowed to drink water. I wasn't allowed to, my meals, my asparagus pieces were even more cut down. Like I wasn't even egg whites. I was only having some asparagus, and I would cut it up to make it look like it was a lot more food so I can make myself think that I was eating more, right? Because my body would retain a lot. It would retain anything. Anyways, so I was at my weakest, right? It was hard to get out of bed. It was hard but it led up to that, right? I was already about to be on my fighting day. And I remember my coach had me do so I would have to spar on a daily basis. And what that means is, for those of you who don't know, it was mini fights, right? So mini fights, and I had to do that in the daytime, in the morning time, and in the nighttime. But I was only girl training, so I would have to spar men who were 200 pounds, 215 pounds, just about, no less than that. But my coach always said, he said, if you could throw a 200-pound man, what are you going to do to a 130-pound girl? Throw her like a paper. You feel me? So he prepared me by pushing me a lot to my top potential, right? To my all my strength to fight easy, train hard, fight easy. Guys, this applies for everything. Now, I remember that at the very end of my day, I was beat. I was so beat. I was exhausted. I felt exhausted. I was ready to go home. I would go to sleep early to trick my mind so I wouldn't be hungry. I was ready to go home. And my coach, 6'4", even bigger than the fighters, put his gloves on and he's like, come on, I want to see what you got. I was like, excuse me, I showed you all day what I got. Like, what do you mean? He's like, I want to see what you got. Exhausted, weeded, dunzo. I had done ran the 10 miles in the morning, 10 miles at night. But guess what? He didn't want to hear excuses. He said, I didn't ask you what you did. I said, I want to see what you got. Cool. Aggressive. I put my gloves on and I put my hands up. Now, all of the techniques, sometimes when you're tired, you tend to let them go a little bit. You tend to not, and you think that's okay, but it's not. So my technique was to keep my hands up to block my face, protect my face. Sometimes so when he would say jab, bam, I would let it loose. Cross, boom, 1, 2, 1, like telling me what combos to do. But because I was tired, I would slip it, come back, and drop my hand. I would count, I would do the opposite of the technique that I knew I was supposed to be doing. So you know what he did? He smacked me, bam, straight hit me, like rocked me like I was a dude. Guess what I did? I put my hand back up. Kept going. He's like, you're gonna do this for 4 minutes. First minute, I was done. I was like, oh my goodness, like my hands are here because I don't want to get hit. And he kept smacking me, hitting me, but like full blown hitting me. Like if I drop my hand a little bit, hit me. So you know what I did? A minute in, I was like, I put my hands down. It's like, I'm tired. It was my white flag. You think that man cared? No, he said, boop, boop, hit me on both sides. He's like, you drop both hands, you get hit both sides. Okay. He said, you still have 3 more minutes. In my soul, I felt like I wasn't going to be able to take that. I started crying. You think he cared? He kept hitting me, kept hitting me, kept hitting me. And I was like, if I don't put my hands up, this man is going to kill me. Put my hands up. I didn't want to fight anymore. I was tired. I was exhausted. But he kept hitting me. He left me no choice. You have to fight. Put my hands back up. I didn't even hear the bell ring because I was going so hard because he's like, that's what you're going to do? You're going to give up when your opponent starts hitting you and you get tired? You're going to tell them that you're tired? No, poker face, poker face. I don't want to see that you're tired. I don't want to be able to even know that. Don't let your opponent see that you're weak. Don't let your opponent see that you're tired. Literally. And guys, I didn't even hear the bell ring, right? I didn't hear the bell ring at all. But he ended up adding a whole extra minute. So, and you know what he said to me? As soon as I finished, I dropped down to the ground and I started crying because I thought I was going to pass out. And he told me, he's like, write this down, guys. When you feel like your body has given it 100%, your 100%, you still have a reserve 5% to still go. When I felt defeat and I felt tired, I felt like I couldn't fight back. I felt like I did all the trainings. I did everything, right? I did what I was supposed to. I showed up for myself. I starved myself. I did everything. And I couldn't, that was my test. That was the biggest test. That was the hardest fight ever. I have literally probably like 30 something fights under my belt. That was the hardest moment because that reality check put me into perspective on everything in life. When you feel like you gave it your 100%, you still have a reserve 5%. But remember what I'm saying. When you stop swinging, that is your problem. You stop fighting back, that is your problem. Where's your 5% reserve at? Because we all have it in us. Your mentor is not going to come and save you. Your mentor is not going to come and shake you. Your mentor is not going to push you and make you the fighter. It's you in the ring. So stop depending on your mentor so much, because in life, you're either going to be a winner. Everybody could be a winner, family. You could win a fight. What? You can't win a fight? You dumb? Anybody could be a winner. A champion, anybody could be a champion too. That's a couple fights, right? You win a couple fights. Ooh, you got a belt. Cool. But then there's also a legend. A legend fights over and over and over and over. It doesn't stop at one belt. It goes for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You're a winner, a champion, or a legend. One lives longer than the others. So I want you to drop on the chat box what it is that you are. Are you a winner? Are you a champion? Or are you a legend? And I keep saying you. A lot of people are dropping legend, legend, legend. I love that. But let's be honest. What's your report card like? Did you show up for yourself? Because legends show up for themselves. Legends don't depend on their coach. It sounds real cool to type legend. But are you really putting in the work to be a legend? With that being said, family, drop a fire emoji in the chat box if you got any type of value from that call. Let's go. Is Neno still there? Neno, did I disappoint you, my brother? Did I understand the assignment, family?
Let's go, man. Marcy, how could you say that, man? That was so powerful, sis. I'm so
I understand the assignment, my bro.
Let's go. Yo, guys, you guys got value from the sis Marcy. Yo, that story right there, the 100 to the 105, man, that was so powerful because I could relate so much. I've had so many moments in my life where, you know, I felt like I gave it everything that I had. I was like, yo, I did everything. And, you know, I ran every mile I had to run. Like, I've been in those positions so many times, and it relates so many times. It relates a lot to business. You know what I'm saying? You know, in business, you know, there comes times when you're just exhausted. You've done so many calls. You've read so many books. You know, you've listened to so many audios. But like you said, you got to be that legend that regardless of how tired you are, you got to continue to show up. You got to continue to swing until you literally can't no more, like literally work until failure. And that was everything right there. That part right there was what really, really touched me. And it kind of reminded me kind of like going into this end of the year, end of 2021, like, you know, we've given a lot this year. We've put in a lot of work this year. You know, for some of us, we've put in 100% of what we already got for the whole year, 12 months. But I feel like these last 2 weeks of this year is like that 5%. Like, can you come and get that 5% out and, you know, really, really put yourself in that position to really, really win. So I'm like super, super excited because I really see, you know, a lot of value in this. And I'm so blessed and grateful that you shared that with us today, Marcy. That was so powerful. Guys, please do me a huge favor and follow her. You know, she does some incredible things each and every single day. And I'm so blessed and grateful, sis. You absolutely killed it. You understood the assignment. You came in and you let everybody know what the power is. And everybody on this call is just super, super excited to know who you are. Wow. That was so powerful. Type a 1 in the chat box if we can have Marcy back, guys. If Marcy's valid to come back, yes, yes, yes. And she does calls every Thursday at 7 p.m. They're called temperature checks. Okay, right? They're called temperature checks. Oh my God. All right. I'm gonna drop her Telegram chat in my Neno's Keys to Success chat. So if you guys want to join it, please feel more than free to do so. But that right there, guys, I wanted you guys to hear that message because when I heard the message, it was something that I was like, okay, I needed to hear that because, you know, a lot of people are not accountable for themselves. A lot of people don't really understand the importance of showing up for yourself regardless every single day, no matter what you're going through, no matter what's happening in life. Like, that's what I wanted you guys to hear, is that it's time to show up no matter what's going on right now at this very moment in time. Look, I'm going to tell you guys right now, if you are not where you want to be, you should not be taking no days off, Christmas, New Year's. What are you celebrating? Really, for real. Like, that's how I'm thinking. I'm like, yo, I got so much, I got so many things that are coming up. Christmas. Like, I'm gonna get my mom, dad, their gifts, stuff like that. Honestly, bro, I don't even want to take no days off. Christmas, I'm grinding. Christmas Eve, I'm grinding. New Year's, I'm grinding. It's just another day for me, bro. Like, I'm not where I want to be at right now. So I don't have time to chill. I don't have time to relax, right? I'm not giving my mom a house for Christmas, so I still got to get back to work. You feel me? Like, I'm not still buying my mom and dad that house, so I still got to get back to work. There's still so much I got to accomplish. So I want you guys to remember, this week right here is a huge week. This week is huge. All right. You know why? Because next week is Christmas. The week after that is New Year's. Okay. And then that's it. New year, new you. So start preparing yourself now for everything that's about to happen. And yes, we will be doing calls on all of those days. Trust me, we don't sleep. Not one day. Christmas specials, the whole nine. We doing it all, family. So I wanted you guys to hear from somebody new to start the week, somebody that wasn't me, somebody that could really, really light a fire in some of you guys. And that way you guys can see that there's people out there that work harder than me. There's people out there that are really willing to do whatever it takes to fight and become that legend, become that champion. All right. And because I know so many of the individuals on this call are women, I wanted you guys to hear from a female perspective as well. Okay, guys. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for taking the time to jump on this call. Marcy, sis, you absolutely killed it. I can't wait to have you back. Guys, follow her on Instagram. All right. And make sure that you guys jump on her calls Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. They're called temperature checks. You do not want to miss
everybody's temperature on that.
Yeah, everybody's I think those calls are a little bit different than these. She came calm, she was aggressive, but on those calls, she's gonna check your temperature real quick, family. So with that being said, guys, great call, great day. I'm super excited for it. And I just want to do a quick prayer for all of us before we go on about our day. Let's get it rocking. Father God, thank you so much for blessing us with another beautiful day filled with your abundance and your grace. We invite you to this moment to thank you for a great start to the week. And I also want to thank you for blessing us with Marcy's presence. Continue to speak through her. Continue to give her the strength and the wisdom that she needs in order for her to become the best version of herself, so she can lead by example for all of us who look for her for inspiration, that look for her for being an example. We are so, so grateful for her. The message this morning was that even though we have given our 100%, we still have that extra reserve of that 5% in us, Father. And since we know we've given a lot this year, we ask, Father, that you give us that extra 5% inside so that we can finish these last 2 weeks of the year super strong, ready to go into 2022 with momentum, ready to go into 2022 with the strength, the wisdom that we need to have the best year that we've ever had, Father, because 2022 is going to be the year of double the blessings, double the abundance, double the breakthroughs, double the quantum leaps, and it's all because of you, God. So we appreciate you so much, and we love you so much, and we thank you for everything that you do for us on a day-to-day basis. In your name we pray, Father. Amen. Amen, amen, amen. Legendary day, December 13th. Monday was the day that Marcy got on Mornings with Neno and absolutely killed it, fam. Any last words, Marcy, before we go?
Don't celebrate your win for too long, family. Because after a fight, you know what I was doing? I won, and I was right back in the gym the next day. That's it.
Yes. Don't celebrate them for too long. We celebrate them once and right back to work, right?
That's it. Right back. That's how you become a legend.
That's how we become a legend. All right, guys. So thank you guys so much. Make sure you guys jump on tomorrow's call. Tomorrow's call is going to be super lit. I got a dope lesson that I learned today that I'm going to write up. I'm going to organize it and get it ready for all of you guys. But with that being said, have a blessed rest of your day. And I'll see you guys back here today, tomorrow.